I'm thinking something's not quite right here. Don't you? Welcome back to try that again, shall we? Most definitely. Hey, welcome back to Papa's Custom Cars. Today we're working a little bit on the subframe. This has been gunked and degreased and pretty much had most of the garbage removed from it. So today we're just going to kind of go through. I was messing a little bit. I was thinking about, well, maybe I should sandblast it. But sandblast it takes a lot of material to do it. It does take a long time. So I grabbed my wire brush and some emery cloth, and I was going to give this a shot with that. So I hit it for a little bit, and most of the garbage comes right off of it. So I think what I'm going to do now, and I'll zip you guys through this as fast as possible, is go through with the wire brush, just clean the basic stuff off of it. We're gonna work this corner of the subframe, and we'll see how it goes. And if it's good enough, then we may just end up just doing it with a couple of hand tools and some emery cloth. So let's get to it. Let's see how it works. So again, I've got my electric drill along with a little brass wire brush that I've got. I've got a smaller one that I'll probably drag out here in a little while. But I'm just going to kind of hit this end of the horn and see how it cleans up. I've already hit a little bit of it, as you'll see just here in a second. And it seems to be cleaning up pretty easily. So the filthy part is going to be down here at the bottom where the oil was dripping from the motor. Kind of know how that all works, but let's get this thing going and see how it works out. I do need to pull this wire off, the ground wire or the ground strap, I should say, and that way we can get to this whole section and get it cleaned up. So let's get on it. So the dirtiest part appears to be the control arms, so I'm not really worried about those. There's a lot of dirt buildup on them, almost as much as there was on this horn. Now the bumper brackets on both sides had big old dents in them, and the horns are straight, the subframe's straight, there's no issues there. So I'm thinking that when someone towed this car at one point or another, they hooked the hooks and caught the back of these bumper brackets as opposed to grabbing the subframe, and they bent the brackets in the back. In doing so, they broke the welds on both sides. So I'm thinking that at one point or another, whoever towed it to whatever repair shop, when it wasn't mine, totally messed it up. So they actually went in and booger welded it to try to make it right. I'm going to go back and clean them up and fix them correctly and weld them correctly, so we don't have to worry about it. But today we're just going to work on this little section here. And like I said, I'm going to zap you through most of this, just kind of show you real quick. I've got a small wire brush. I've got a bigger one. These are both steel. And then I've got a brass one. Probably going to stick more with the steel ones than the brass, and kind of see how this all cleans up. And I might not have to sandblast this whole thing. I might be able to just get it cleaned up with this type of stuff. And then I've got some green emery cloth to basically finish up the job. But I want to get the heavy grease and dirt and stuff off there first. But we'll start here. Basically, we're going to work our way back and then across the firewall and then up the other side kind of thing. And what's nice about doing something like this is you can sit in the comfort of your little chair and watch TV while you're doing it. So, like I said, I'm going to zap you guys through most of this stuff so you can kind of see. And I'll zoom you in a little bit during it so that you can see how well this cleans. And like I said, this is a California car. It shouldn't be too tough. It's always been in a garage pretty much its entire life with me, with the exception of when it was in California. And it was outside, and we lived a couple miles from the beach. So a little bit of saltwater rust in some areas, but it was pretty easy to clean up. Most of the damage done to this car was putting too much horsepower without subframe connectors. But I'll show you guys that later on. But let's get to cleaning this and watching a little bit of TV, and we'll zap you through this as fast as we can so you can kind of get through this. And then we can get this all up and ready for our control arms and our new springs and all that fun stuff. So here we go. So really all we're trying to do is just stuff this up enough so that we can paint them, get most of the dirt off and all that kind of thing. These don't have to be perfect. This is a driver, it's not a show car. Yeah, I'd like it to be that caliber, but we're going to be driving it. So these are going to be painted black just like everything else. So it would be nice to powder coat, but we all know powder coating with something this big is expensive. A lot of this is just pulling all the garbage and trash off of here. They're printing it up pretty well. I mean, there's not a lot of work involved in it. Emery cloth, we'll just follow up with emery cloth to smooth everything out. But most of this is just to get all this big, thick garbage off of it. But it seems to be working pretty good. You can tell the car was this went through the same place that the car went through, because the paint underneath the dirt is the same color that the car used to be, that tan color that Chevy had. So definitely different. Coming pretty clean. I think some solvent and a rag would probably take the rest of this off without any trouble. To say the least. But yeah, it's coming off clean. Big pile of dirt and muck on the floor, but for the most part, this looks like how we're going to clean it up. So I'm not going to drag you through the rest of it. There's no point in dragging you all the way through cleaning this whole thing up. What we want to do next is I'll finish up this subframe, and then once it's done, I'll bring you back, show you. Probably will be over the next 3 weeks. Don't want to bore you with all of this stuff, but I'll bring you back when it's time to start welding and at least shoot some primer on this. So I'll see you here in a little bit. For you, it'll be a couple of seconds. For me, it'll be a couple of days. So I'll see you then. Definitely getting a lot of dirt off here, that's for sure. Like I said, I'm not looking to strip it completely, just basically sand it down, get the trash off of it, clean it with solvent, and then shoot primer on it and paint black paint on it and be done with it. We're going to end up pulling the front end apart, so I want to get as much of this clean as I can before I start ripping this stuff apart. That way I just have to clean underneath where that's at. But yeah, other than that, it's moving along and coming clean. There's a whole lot of dirt being left behind, I'll tell you that much. So I would grab the air hose and go nuts, but I'll drive the dogs crazy and they don't like that. So let's get back to it. tell you the quality of the welding they did back here in the 70s was not very good. You know, I see, you can tell it wasn't done by robots, let's put it that way. You had a guy with a stick welder welding this stuff. Definitely one of the things that's changed over time is the way things are welded together. Like for example, these two-piece frame got booger welds here, no weld, weld, no weld, weld, but the welds they've got, like this one's all piled up on top. It's all horrible looking. Just unbelievable how bad the welds were back then. But they held together for less than 100,000 miles, so that kind of tells you. I think we're going to call it that for the day. That's definitely, I think, enough for this video. We are going to come back later on, finish the rest of this. I don't think I'm going to drag you through the whole process. It's kind of pointless to do that. Up here on the firewall, though, we definitely have our work cut out for us because there is a lot of garbage in the paint. Take a little bit more than that. We'll probably have to get the flap disc on it. There's a lot of sealer, a lot of body seam filler, all that kind of stuff. Like through this area, it's all going to have to be scraped off before we can even think about getting it with this, with the drill and stuff. We're probably going to end up having to hit it with a flap disc because we've got to fill all these holes and everything anyway. So most of this is going to have to be ground. So with that, everybody have a great weekend. Have a great week, I should say. And I will see you in the next one. Do me a favor, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you've ever done anything like this before, what you found to be easiest, like I said, it's knocking off pretty easily with the wire wheel. As you can see, this area is pretty much done. I could hit it with a grinder and clean this up a little bit, and I might on these bad welds that they have here, just to clean all that up, and then maybe come back and hit it with the MIG welder just to clean it up a lot. But let me know what your thoughts are, how you've cleaned these up before, if you've done it before, besides sending it out and having it sandblasted. I don't want to rip apart the subframe on this car. I think I'm down far enough now that I can just clean it up and start going to town on it. So, but let me know what your thoughts are on this. Share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.